Six Nations round number 2, folks. Ireland hosting Italy, and that was close. 20 points to 13. The Irish get the win. The Italians get the losing bonus point, which I think is probably a fair reflection of the game. The Irish score 3 tries to 1. But boy, did the Italians put in a good shift. Their scrum was immense. Tyke Furlong got lifted airborne in this game, which is just something you don't see happen. Their kick return play was dangerous, and they managed to kind of go toe-to-toe with the Irish in terms of the possession stakes, which is, again, unusual because Ireland starve and strangle teams of possession, but not this Italian side. I thought the Irish subs came on, the likes of Gibson Park, the likes of Crowley, and Adogbo got his debut and whatnot. They added some value. McCloskey was absolutely key for Ireland at 12, setting up 2 tries, but yeah, Italy had a try denied for a forward pass, which may not go down well. But ultimately, for me, sitting here in New Zealand at 3 in the morning, it was a good game to watch, which is what I am most pleased about. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. A lot of Irish ball early on in this game. Italy conceded a couple of penalties, but they weren't punished, as Dan Sheehan tried his old move from the Lions tour where he tries to dive over from a quick tap, gets pinged for it, can't dive into the tackle. And I've seen that officiated in different ways in recent days because there's been a couple of those in Super Rugby, obviously the Lions tour last year. Sheehan gets pinged for that one, so a bit of a let-off for the Italians, not punishing for the Irish. And then Liner gets himself a yellow card for a deliberate knock-on, which is, again, a rule not a big fan of, but the way it is officiated pretty consistently for the most part is if you stick up one hand and go for an intercept, you don't get it, you're going to get carded. So such is life for Louis Liner. I don't think he was trying to deliberately knock on the ball. I think he was trying to intercept it, but failed to catch it, so he sees yellow. And to be fair, the Italians had been close to an intercept earlier. Casey and Prendergast were both living on the edge, I guess, of potential Italian intercepts, but that one, as I said, not taken, so yellow card for Liner. And 15 against 14, we see the Irish guys go to work. It took them a wee while. They had to get their passes to stick because the Irish passing had been a little bit wayward early on in the game, but the passes did start to stick. We saw McCloskey, like I mentioned, ride the tackle of Zuliani, and he's just able to kind of spin out of it and offload to Osborne, who's able to go over. The conversion from Prendergast is pretty average because he doesn't kick it, and it's 5 points to 0 for the Irish lads. But a bit of a soft one, which I don't think Andy Farrell will be happy with, which is immediately conceding points after you've scored. Izichukwu gets pinged for a line-out infringement not long after the restart, and Garbisi does have the kicking boots on. He's able to slot that one, so the Irish try kind of only becomes worth 2 points because the gap has been narrowed to 2. Yellow card is over for the Italians, and yeah, they've looked all right during the yellow card period. I feel like their line speed was causing the Irish attack all kinds of issues, sometimes forcing the Irish to kick after multiple phases going nowhere. And to be fair, man, the Italians on kick return were looking really dangerous. Pani in at fullback. Like, I know there's been a lot made about, why isn't Capuozzo picked as broken thumbs back? Pani looked pretty good, pretty dangerous. So, yeah, the Italians were certainly good value for the 2-point difference in the game. And then, I mean, Pani almost set up Lamaro with, again, that very kick return thing, if not for a pass not quite finding his hands. But hey, dangerous times. Casey's turn to get a yellow card. Ireland went down to 14 men themselves when he face-on-face kind of upright tackled Lorenzo Canone. He certainly came off the worse of the two guys. There's a big size difference between Craig Casey and Lorenzo Canone. Craig Casey went flying backwards, but it's an upright tackle. So he gets yellow carded and has to have a bit of treatment because his face is not looking the best after smashing into Lorenzo. But the Italians, interestingly, 15 against 14, equally looking to go for the jugular, which is something you can, I don't know, like, give them some credit for, man. This Italian side wants to take their game to the next level. They want to win away in Dublin, so they opt for an attacking line-out. They get the maul going. The backs get in there to add a bit of weight, and the hook and the Cortetta goes over. So 10 points to 5 with the conversion. The Italians are not only in front, but their scrum is really starting to shove the Irish pack around. If not for a Stuart McCloskey intervention right before half-time, where he kind of holds up an Italian ball carrier in the tackle, then potentially the Italians go in for another one. So it's 10-5 to the Italians at half-time. The Irish have edged the position, 56-44, but they've been doing a lot of carries in their own half. The Italians have had the territory, 57-43. That's what I mean. It's like phase after phase, and then kick. Yeah, it's a bit. I don't think Andy will be happy with the first half. They did have the run meters, they had the defenders beaten, they had the clean breaks, but the Italians 5 turnovers, 1-2. They had to make a lot more tackles, but yeah, the Irish had also conceded a few penalties. Zuliani had won 3 turnovers in the first half alone. And to be fair, James Lowe, who's come under a bit of stick, he was looking pretty strong in the carry. Like, he doesn't have express pace, but he's got a nice fend on him still, and was showing a fair bit of power. Farrell got his desired result, though. At the start of the second half, you feel like he brought on Tyke Furlong because the scrum had been under the pump, but it wasn't scrum time that got the initial damage done from an Italian perspective. It was an Italian penalty conceded, Ireland with a line-out attack, and the crowd, I feel like, really started to wake up at that point. They're down the Italian end, get behind the boys, and it seemed to work because close range, Jack Conan, he is a hard man to stop from that close range attack. Again, a misconversion. It wasn't striking them sweetly, old Prendergast, but 10 points apiece. He'd be a bit happier. Andy Farrell, I don't want to say happy, but happier anyway. Scrum still comes under a lot of pressure, though. Furlong, despite the fact that he's on, they are still largely kind of under the pump, but then some guys putting in key moments to get them out of jail. Ezuchukwu, who'd conceded a penalty in the first half for a line-out infringement, he's able to pinch Italian line-out ball to shut down one of their attacks, but they continue the pressure, and it looks like they have scored on 51 minutes. It may be the most contentious call of the game, because they were getting some nice width on the ball, the Italians. Menoncello had the line break. He passed it wide to Liner, who goes over for the try. It was a borderline pass, and I do feel like we need to keep in mind the ball travels forward when a player is running at full tilt and chucks it sideways. It naturally drifts forward. So it does drift forward over the 22-meter line. So it looks forward, but it looked like a flat pass out of the hands. For mine, if you're Irish, it's forward as forward passes go. Maybe I'm just a New Zealander and we don't call forward passes. That's the stereotype, isn't it? But it looked like he chucked it sideways to me. I mean, Holly Davidson did say to the TMO, is it clear and obvious? And he said, yes, it is. So maybe he had better angles of it, but I don't feel like that's the most egregious of forward passes. If it's going to be TMO, it needs to be blatant. I don't think it was blatant. I know it goes forward, but like if you look at where Menoncello's running, the ball doesn't go in front of him because he's still running at the same speed as the ball is passed. It's the momentum. But hey, I feel like if you're a neutral, you'd be on my side. I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts. Was it forward? I don't think it was that forward, but it's a brutal one because the Italians conceded not too long later. After having their kind of hopes dashed of going back ahead, the Irish had the perfect reply, and they brought on the subs. The subs, I feel like, really made the difference for Andy Farrell. Nice hands. Crowley, McCloskey, how he rode that tackle and American football styled the next pass was just nuts. You don't see that happen much at all. You don't see American football passes in rugby unless it's like a Barbars game. So McCloskey, unbelievable skills to do that. Balakoon with the gas, and he's able to go past Pani, who I thought had a pretty good game for the Italians up until that point. But yeah, 17 points to 10. And that kind of came from the Italians, like Ferrari, the big prop who got man of the match last week against the Scots. Like a bit lazy getting back on side, so it gives away an advantage, allows the Irish a free hand to play, and they took it really well. So 17 points to 10. Crowd is back alive. You can really feel the atmosphere at the Aviva. The Irish attack is starting to click. They get more go forward. The Italians concede another penalty. They slot this one, the Irish, so 20 points to 10. But I feel like that's the end of the Irish momentum, really. The Italians take the game by the scruff of the neck because the Irish fail to get a clean exit once again, and it ends in a scrum, which ends in Furlong getting airborne, like I said, shoved upwards by the Italian props. From that penalty, Garbisi slots it, so 20 points to 13. We're back to the one-score game. That is the final scoring, but the Italians have all of the pressure for the end of the game. There are a couple of kind of fluffed moments from both sides, to be fair. Like, there was a dink over from Menoncello, which was very close from Garbisi. Not quite executed. Edogbo gave away a penalty at the breakdown, which Garbisi then went for touch. He fluffed the kick, but Balakoon was waiting outside the touchline to try and catch it back in. But he kind of had to come back in field because the kick was so short, and then he ended up knocking the touch. So kind of fluffed that. If he just waited by the touchline, he would have been able to just catch it and kick clear. And then the Italians, 5 meters out, a lot of phases, ended up chucking it to James Lowe. So they fluffed that. He doesn't have the gas to get up the field. He was never going to have the gas to go length of the field these days, James Lowe, but he certainly shut down the attack. And then the Irish had a chance at the end to go for the 4-try bonus point, but ended up like Crowley. He just kicked the friggin' thing dead from so close. Almost like you or I could have kicked that better, but it's a weird end to the game. It was an entertaining game, and line breaks is 8-7. So there was a fair few guys in space in this game. The possession's 50-50, which doesn't happen. You got Ireland, who's a possession team, against Italy, who are not a possession team. They're quite happy to counter-attack, live off the scraps, turnover and counter, go, go, go. 50-50. That's a concern if you're Ireland, and the Italians had the territory as well. It's 58%. Turnovers won 6-8 to the Italians. Penalties conceded as 10-6 against the Irish. So there's a few scrum penalties in the difference there. Both lineouts are pretty solid. Tackle counts are almost identical, 168, 167 on the initial count. Missed tackle counts a little bit higher from the Italians, but they do have that kind of rush line speed, which was meaning some guys were looking to make the ball carrier uncomfortable more so than put in a big hit at times. But yeah, individuals. James Lowe, much maligned. 9 defenders beaten. That fender his, 3 clean breaks. Menoncello had 5 defenders beaten as well. Tackle counts, Lorenzo Canone, 18 tackles. Stuart McCloskey, 16 tackles and 2 try assists. Cracking shift from him. Jack Conan had 17 as well as his try. But yeah, the Italians mixing it up with the big boys. Best performance I think I personally have seen them play in Dublin. I don't remember watching the game back in 97 where they got a win, but that was a hell of a game. On another day, they could have won that game. But Andy's side gets 3 tries to 1. Still work ons for sure, but the Six Nations campaign back on track, because if they'd lost it, it would have been catastrophic. But anyway, good game. I am entertained. I'm off to watch the Calcutta Cup. You guys take care. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.